Hello, I'm the Wooden Frog. Okay, I'm recording. And welcome back to Citizen Sleeper. We're gonna get a lot done this episode, I think. Starboard Vector. Starboard Vector? Isn't that the name of the sequel? Did I say that before? I probably did. Well, first of all, we're just gonna start off with helping Bliss a bit more, because it's just a good idea. And second of all, last time Ash went off on her own, doing doing a thing, advancing the flotilla without us, without Peak, I'm pretty sure, which might serve to be problematic. Ash might die. We still have more DLC to do after this, though, or DLC, it's a free update, but whatever. For now, we're talking to Bliss. The atmosphere in the airlock is euphoric. You and Bliss keep grinning at each other like idiots. Exhausted, blinded, sore, and aching idiots. And make sure the mic's in a good spot. Sleeper, that was incredible. She punches you on the arm. I never thought we were gonna make it. Those idiots tangled the whole thing up like I've never seen, even. Make a good team. Bliss smiles a winning smile. As the lock's inner door clunks open, Moritz gives a rare whoop. He looks exhausted too, and for good reason. Moritz has been the one ferrying tools and parts back and forth from the ship. His tired smile tells you he's glad it's done. Sleeper, Bliss. Impressive. When I saw that ship coming, I thought there was no way. Why, thank you, Moritz. She winks, her believing in us. Moritz rolls his eyes. You know what I mean. That's the voice. That's the Moritz voice. Can you even see me? Can you see me? Sorry, I don't know why my camera's been weird lately. It hasn't been, like, cameraing correctly. It's annoying. I don't know why it's doing that. You know what I mean. Take the compliment. You shoulder some of the gear that came back in with you and Bliss and heads to the racks to stow it. Bliss turns to you. I think you should be the one to do the honors. She nods to the ragged-looking console that Moritz assembled. I don't want to jinx it. She smiles, but you can see she's genuinely nervous. Don't worry. I'll stop worrying when the chits are in my hands, and I'm giving them to a gimbal bartender. You glide over to the console and check the screen. It takes a second to see what you're doing through the flickering, cracked display, but after a moment you see the accounts, and there it is. Almost 1,000 cryo. Ooh, is sat in the Bay Transfer's account. Well, Bliss calls. Have we been screwed again? It's there. Bliss kicks off from the floor and spins up into the bay, shouting as she does. The noise takes Moritz by surprise, and he knocks a rack of parts, scattering handfuls of metal fixings across the bay. The sight is something, glinting steel catching the work lights like glitter. Sorry, says Bliss, grinning when she comes back down. I needed that. I needed this. Thanks, Drake. She kicks off and joins you at the terminal. Moritz even managed to sell that produce. It made a tidy profit. What? A tidy profit, eventually. She laughs. Here. She loads a stack of blank chits into the terminal and transfers a chunk of the cryo to them. This is your cut. Bliss hands you the chits. Thank you for believing in this place. She looks away and smiles, even when I couldn't. When you first met me, I was on the edge of giving up. All it would have taken was one more push, but now, this place is sparking again. Work is coming in, there are funds in the accounts. Even Moritz has to spring in his step. You both look over at him, happily racking up tools. My camera's pissing me off. Why is it doing this? What if I... Oh! Okay, that worked. You both look over at him, happily racking up tools. And that's because of you. She punches you on the arm. He likes you. He's a good kid. He isn't bad, is he? She leans in closer. You know, he came here to rob the place. He gave him a job instead. She laughs. Damn it, Moritz. Don't tell him I told you that. I just thought it might help you understand the kid. Moritz turns to look at you, and both Bliss and you awkwardly wave. Maybe it's time to change the subject. What now? From here on out, it's going to be a little easier. I'm going to look for some component contracts, stuff that will keep us inside the bay, not out in the black. No need to risk our necks if you don't need to. You want to cash out? That's fine. There will always be work for you here when you need it. I appreciate it. She smiles and then out of nowhere quickly gives you a hug. She steps back and glances around reflexively. Take care, she says softly. You too. You turn to leave. And Sleeper. Yeah? She smiles. Don't spend that all at once. 300! Okay. Upgrade point. Can't upgrade anything. Wait, or can I? No, I cannot. Well, no, we're not done with Bliss. One last job. Huh? Oh! I can earn money from this. A decent bit, too. We're not done for today, though. There is absolutely something I need to check on over here with, Esh and Peak. Specifically, Peak that's probably going to talk to me about Esh. Nope, it's not. It's not. It is not. It is the cordon. Well, actually, no, this might be. This might... No. You arrive frantic and anxious at the cordon. Yeah, after working on a ship for a bit. Peak is nowhere to be seen. What the hell? Oh, they're the same message. Then you hear footsteps hammering on the metal stairway Helene's drone led you through before, the one that leads up to the observation deck. You leap up the stairs 2 at a time and make it to the top, momentarily blinded by the light pouring into the observation deck. What? Sleeper. Peak emerges from the light. She just... I know she's trying to protect me, but... It's okay, she chose. What about my choice, Sleeper? I'm not a child anymore. I can fight for myself. They turn away. There she is! Peak rushes to the wide window, leaning forward to catch a glimpse of the Climbing Briar's blue XBR livery against the black of the void. You spot the Climbing Briar, glint of blue and white, tiny and alone, arcing down towards the red lights of the cordon. She's exposed, Peak says nervously. They'll see her coming if they look. You watch the cordon and the buzzing tugs for any sign of movement, any response. The Briar crawls silently across your view. Come on, Ash, Peak hisses. Then you see it, a sudden flicker of yellow. Peak sees it too. Those 2 tugs are heading to cut her off. They grip the rail. Go, Ash! As if responding to Peak's urging, the Briar speeds up, diving for the cordon edge now, like a hawk descending. You tense up. Peak grips the rail as the Briar races towards the edge of the cordon, that invisible net of sensors splayed between ships and drones. Now let's hope the blind spot triggered. You think back to the mess of systems you had to wade through to set it up, the delicate contingencies you set up to trigger the sensor blackout at just the right moment. The Briar slides through the cordon as if it was nothing, rapidly slipping into the mess of ships in the flotilla. You look back to the pursuing tugs and see them slow, confused by the cordon's acceptance of the Briar and struggling to track their target. Ash is in! Both you and Peak let out the breath you've been holding and laugh. How did she do it? Peak smiles, shaking their head. We did it! It was we! Peak smiles wider. Yes, we did. They laugh. You feel a little shaky from the tension, but Peak's ease helps you settle. You imagine Ash steely-eyed in the pilot seat of the Briar, searching for a place to dock. Oh man, gotta find a parking space. Maybe being stubborn has its advantages. You okay? Me? Peak sighs. I think that took years off my life, but I've gotta hand it to Ash. She was right. You and Peak turn back to the window, looking for the Briar again amongst all those hulls, the calm fading as new worries settle in. You spot the Briar first this time, docking with the largest of the flotilla's ships, a vast converted tanker, half of its protective plates removed. You think about the effort it must have taken to get that thing all the way here from the inner system. You watch the Briar, unable to get any sense of progress from its plastic exterior. They'll be offloading everything now, Peak says, both assuring you and themselves that everything is going to plan. You think of all the supplies loaded into the Briar and how long the process of unloading them might take. I mean, we did get that front finished. The bay was packed, rammed with everything you could offer, and the thought of bringing all that to the flotilla makes you smile. You think of the reaction of the refugees, of the welcome they'll give Ash as the bearer of such gifts. You even imagine a smile from Ash as she is showered with thanks. You focus on that as you watch the Briar and continue the nervous wait for it to finish unloading. It's breaking off. Peak points at the Briar and you see the puff of air and dust that accompanies an emergency depressurization. What? Ash must have ended things early, but why? Then you see them, the tugs closing in on the Briar. Havenage must have spotted the ship. Shoot. You and Peek are up against the window again, willing the Briar a safe path out of the flotilla. The Briar drifts through the flotilla, but it is agonizingly slow. Come on, Ash. Peek shouts in desperation, pressing a palm against the glass. You squint at the gathering yellow glints of the tugs. They're too fast. You both watch in dismay as the tugs swarm the Briar, their shunts locking onto the hull of the ship and holding it in place. The Briar is stuck and its drives unable to escape the tug's grip, especially in the close quarters of the flotilla. No! Peek is silent, and you watch as the Briar is dragged away towards the facility at the edge of the rim, a hole opening up in the pit of your stomach. You look at Peek, but they don't respond. They don't take their eyes off the Briar. Even after it disappears, they stand there at the glass, their eyes fixed on the flotilla. She didn't even get the supplies through. Peek doesn't look at you. This was all for nothing. Wait, no, oops. This was all for nothing. We can get her back. This is stupid, Sleeper. Peek looks back at you, their eyes wide. A stupid plan. We had a ship and our freedom. Now what do we have? Peek slams a hand on the glass in frustration, making you jump. I won't be trapped again. I won't. They turn and rush out of the observation deck before you can say anything, leaving you alone with the cold and the light. I failed! Helene left a message with one of the drones for you to meet her here when she is done cleaning up the mess. I told you whatever happens, happens. Alright, I tried my best. I need to inject stabilizer. I tried. Tried to make things go right. And it didn't work. Because Ash is too stubborn. Now Ash is going to be like in a holding cell going, "Aw, rats, I should have listened. You stupid bastard." Alright, now what do I do? The only thing I can do is win a side rail ticket. I mean, I gotta get food, but like, I guess I'll win the side rail ticket? And this, my good man, I need some fungus. I am rich as all hell. Alright, let's win that side rail ticket. Come on. Come on. There we go. Give it to me. Your crew slowly filters out of the shipyard locker room, the bubbling chatter reducing with each group that leaves. There's excitement in the air. Havenage just made an announcement. The assembly teams are done. Ooh. Sat on the locker room bench, you can feel the side rail out there. Its hulking mass now intimately familiar to you. Over the past cycles, you've watched it grow, be assembled. You've walked through its veins and welded its bones. Now it's ready for the final stage. We'll go to testing now, then enter a final process of sealing and resealing, checking and rechecking before it is deemed suitable for its generational trip. But for now, your work is done, and you can't help but feel proud. A cough interrupts your thoughts. It's Lem. Changing out of his work gear, Mina nowhere to be seen. He smiles. She'll be ready soon. Actually, no, I don't know if you can hear that. Hold on. She'll be ready soon. Where's Mina? You two are fast friends, huh? He's being watched at home. Now I'm on the work team, I can afford a bit more help. He corrects himself. Was on the work team. I mean, we are all out of a job now, he quickly adds. Not that I'm complaining. Lem comes to sit beside you on the bench. She's gotta be in her best shape when she carries you. You, Mina, and me out of here. Oh, the side rail. I was like, who's she? So confident? Lem smiles apologetically. Why not? I figure I'm due a lucky turn by now. He rubs his hands nervously. No use in wondering what if until the draw anyway. And there's a few cycles till then. Lem is right, but the odds seem unlikely anyway. How many are working in the shipyard? Hundreds? 1,000? You've certainly seen more faces than you can count pass through. And are the Celis Foundation even going to keep their promise? Out here on the Eye, you get the sense that no one will hold them to it. Why else would they be building the side wheel in a surrogate system? As you think, Lem watches you with a worried look. How's Mina doing? I think that's more important. Lem is surprised by the question. You're not going to ask me about Celis, Sleeper? I mean, okay. She's doing well. She misses having you over, actually. I need to get you two together again soon, especially now I won't see you here either. Lem gazes into space. She's pretty stuck on you, actually. She told me the other cycle that she doesn't want to go unless you can come too. He sighs. You ever been in a thunderstorm, Sleeper? A real big one? I don't remember. Lem shoots you a worried look for a moment. Oh yeah, you're a sleeper. It's something else, he smiles. The sound, the smell, the rain hammering down, the whole sky stretched out and bruised, roaring and huge. The place I was born, New Pembroke, a dry old rock in a Conway system, had 2 seasons. One of them was as dry as bone, dusty, ugly. The other one was long storm, a side effect of the terraforming efforts, they said. Rain used to rattle off the roofs like bullets. It washed the dust away, turned the streets to rivers. It'd sing us to sleep and wake us in the morning. We'd wait half a year just to see it again. The best day was the one where the first drops fell. He sniffs. Some days I wake up swearing I can hear it again. I was thinking, Mina's never seen a storm, never even felt rain. She's grown up here, the ring her only horizon, always in the dark. I want to change that for her. You will. You will. Of course. Almost there. Lem stands, stretching. Best get back to the little one anyway. With the shifts done, I reckon she'll be happy to have me home for a few cycles. She shoulders his gear. See you in a few for the draw? Good luck. Don't need it. He grins. Lem leaves, making you the last person in the cavernous locker room. As you sit, you think about rain and a little hope creeps in. Is it possible? Could the sidereal really take you to a planet, a place with weather even, with skies, with life? You get up quickly before you can think about it anymore. It's too soon to hope. Too dangerous. There's work to be done. No, there's really not. We are now in waiting for stuff to happen hell. Wait, what? What's the difference? So, 6 cycles until the horizon starts moving. 3 cycles until the sidereal draw. There's gonna be some big stuff happening. Alright, let's sleep again and then react. Wait, what? Complete active scenes? What? What? Oh, is it actually time to talk to, what's their name? I don't think it's Peak. This person? Helene, even? I'm sorry, Sleeper. I don't remember your voice, I'm just gonna guess. Helene comes towards you along the walkway, but your friend must have known there was a chance this would happen. She seems unsure of how to greet you and looks around nervously. She's being held, along with her ship. What now? I don't know, Sleeper, I don't know. Helene pinches the bridge of her nose. Cordon Security has your friend, and she and her ship will be held in the quarantine until it is lifted. So how do we lift it? As for the quarantine, she glances at her slate. We're working on it, but the Council's unlikely to budge now. Not after this. She runs a hand through her hair. This is the last thing I needed. Helene meets your eye. She was carrying weapons, you know that? She stares at you. We found a crate of firearms on her ship. I didn't know. Helene eyes you. Well, it doesn't matter now. They're safely in Havenage hands. And the refugees? Nothing good. Helene looks away. As you know, Cordon Security intercepted your friend before she could get supplies through. Since then, the refugees have cut off all communication. I'm worried, Sleeper, about what is happening in there. But after recent events, Cordon Security are keeping the place locked down tighter than ever. No one can get in. Ugh, that's bad. Meanwhile, the hardline counselors are preaching in the chamber as we speak. It's a deadlock, and I don't know when it will loosen its grip. Helene walks a little away and turns back. I wish I had better news, Sleeper, but we knew this was coming. What can be done? It's a waiting game now. I'll do my best to make my voice heard in the debates to persuade members, and we will see what can be done. We still don't know why the flotilla came here and why they abandoned settlements and outposts throughout the system to flee to this ruined station. What little we heard from them concerned computer and life support systems collapsing in waves, machinery in flux. Helene sucks in a breath. This isn't over. You think of the people of the flotilla. I'm awful at speaking. Helena's right. People don't abandon their homes for nothing. What wave is rushing through the system, and when will it reach the eye? Helene interrupts your thoughts. I have to go. The debates will restart soon, and I should be there. She waits for a moment, and it is unclear if she's trying to think of something to say or just waiting for you to speak. But the silence keeps you both quiet, and she walks off down the corridor, a nod the only farewell she offers. You hope that speaking to her might ease the knot of worry in your chest, but it remains there, reminding you of Ash, of the refugees, and of the wait ahead. What is done, no matter how many times you turn it over in your head. You get the feeling you'll be needed soon, and for that, you must save your strength. What was it Feng told you Erland said? The eye opens for us all? Not this time. For now, the eye remains closed to those that need it. A shudder runs through you. Something's coming. You can feel it. This isn't over. In 3 cycles, episode Refuge will begin. And they're saying good luck. Well, I am gonna need luck because, I don't know if we're gonna be here. Whatever, let's sleep. Is something happening today? I can't remember. Wait, I can just check by trying to sleep. Nope. Ooh, we have something going on today. Let's see what it is. I think it's the ticket drawing. So this will be interesting. Here we go. Crowds have already gathered by the time you get to the shipyard, and you recognize faces among them, people you have worked alongside on the cider. The intervening cycles have turned their excitement to anxiety, and few of them smile at you. Instead, the nervous energy of the crowd fills the space, creating a feedback loop of growing tension. You pick out Lem and Mina and work your way over to them, pushing through the crowd. He silently raises he raises your eyebrows! His eyebrows at you, his anxiety obvious, but Mina flashes you a huge smile, unaware of the tension. Robot! She shouts, reaching out to you. Yeah, I'll hug her. She gratefully accepts your hug, leaning against your chest, and Lem smiles, seemingly glad to share the weight of Mina for a moment. Quite the turnout, huh? Lem glances around, pulling Mina close. I don't think patience is one of this crowd's strengths. The sound of an argument towards the back catches your and Lem's attention. He is, putting it lightly. This place seems set to explode. Yeah, this isn't good. Lem doesn't dare answer, but the look in his eyes suggests he agrees. This is Aster Enhart of the Celis Foundation. The announcement echoes from the speakers at the shipyard entrance, and shouts of "Quiet!" rapidly follow. I'm sorry I can't be there to meet you all, and thank you on behalf of Sendra Celis for the work you have done on the Sidereal Horizon. Most of the crowd strains to see Aster's face, but the small display shows only a ghostly white figure, smudged and unclear. Awesome. Sendra wanted me to pass on her personal thanks for your commitment to and belief in the Celis Foundation's mission. We chose the Eye for this project because we knew that we would find like-minded individuals here, especially among the ranks of the venerable Havenage Association. It looks like I'm like holding my nose, but that's not what's happening. I'm doing this to try and like... Unlike most of the Corps, we need to believe Erland's Eye to be a threat or a rogue state, but instead an embryo for the formation of a new decentralized social structure, one where each citizen might be the master of their own destiny. A ripple of impatience runs through the crowd. They didn't come here for a sermon. You are all pioneers, just like those Corps citizens who the Sidereal Horizon will carry in cryosleep to the planet that will become the Foundation's first frontier world, Celis 1. At the mention of the destination world, excited conversations break out among the workers. There, our citizens will be able to create their own innovative bottom-up economic order, aligned with the principles set down by Sendra Celis herself: freedom, resilience, and self-sustenance. This is all thanks to your tireless efforts in the Havenage Yards. As a reward for those efforts, you may know that we are offering a select group the opportunity to join the caretakers of the Vision, the staff of the Sidereal Horizon who will maintain the vessel during its multi-decade transit through interstellar space. Lem turns to you, his eyes bright. This is it. This draw has been performed at random by the central AIs at the Foundation and is final and binding. Please note only licensed contractors at the Foundation are eligible for this draw. I know you have all been eagerly awaiting this day, and without further delay, I will now read the Celis identification numbers of those chosen for this great honor. Oh, it's multiple people. A murmur runs through the crowd. Celis identification numbers? Licensed contractors? You have never even heard the term mentioned. Is this something you were supposed to be assigned? You glance at Lem, but his eyes are fixed forward, wide and shimmering. All around you, people are speaking in hushed tones like a rising wave. Astor starts reading out sequences of numbers and letters, and panic begins to set in. No one seems to know what is happening. Somewhere near the front of the crowd, someone shouts in celebration. Everyone pushes forward. Lem? You turn to see Lem still staring forward. Mina is scared now as the shouts start. Daddy? Someone throws something at the entrance and it rattles against the shipyard doors. You see, for the first time, Havenage security stood on either side, scared, arguing between themselves. You feel the anger rising in the crowd. Lem, we gotta go. He doesn't move. They might call out names. I can't. Mina tugs at his dog tags. It's not happening. Lem blinks rapidly and then turns to you. He opens and closes his mouth and looks down at Mina. He sees the fear in her eyes and understands. We gotta go. You lead Lem and Mina out, shoving people aside. As you do, you hear the sound of scuffles emerging at the front of the crowd, of metal canisters bouncing off the shipyard walls. You keep your head down and walk away, the sound of Astor reading off the ciphers echoing above the chaos like some strange mantra. You turn to Lem. When you turn to Lem, there are tear tracks running down his cheeks, and Mina is sniffling into his jacket. You feel the sadness rising in you too. They screwed you. Screwed all of you. You were never even on the list. The feeling is as unpleasant as it is familiar. You stare ahead into the tunnel as the security sirens sound out, a signal for the coming violence. I failed! What? How'd I fail? What the... Now what? Now what? Lem and Mina's unit. Okay, this is something. Sleeper gone to find work Lem. You just go to Minji Express. Okay, well... God damn it. I guess I'll work. God, that sucks. I mean... Why'd I fail the drive? Is there a reason? If I had stayed, would it have not failed? Like, I'm confused. Whatever. All there is to sleep and wait and see what happens in the morning, which might be nothing. I'm starving. I'm starving. Oh, who's contacting me? It hits you like a wave. A white-edged breaker roaring inland with the force of the entire ocean. The impact is a screaming brightness, blanking out everything. Behind it is silence. You float in silence, suspended. No, you do not float. You are the silence. It has filled you up. It's emptied you out. You cease to exist. What? Time passes, though you do not feel it passing. Then something flickers in the silence, and something moves. And that something is you. You open your eyes to a metal ceiling of flickering lights. You feel the floor around you, patting it with shaking hands. You assemble an image of yourself lying on your back in a corridor. You shake off the silence and sit up. What was that? You glance around, looking for a sign of some change. Damage on the walls, shouts in the distance, fire and fear. Nothing has changed. The silence sits around you like fog. You try to think, furrowing your brow. How do you think again? Doesn't seem so easy anymore. You force the pathways to light up. The data banks to grant access. You feel like a fraction drive starting up after a long shutdown in cold vacuum. Okay, in the wave, it was just noise. Just as the sound produced by a wave raking across a pebble beach represents trillions of impacts heard as a single roar, so this sound was the result of the trillions of electrons flickering in place heard as a single, impossible scream. A memory image comes to you, one from the moment before the wave hit. You squint as you imagine it, trying to cohere its blurry form. A broken skeletal ring, the eye, and then a vast arc approaching it. A razor-edged white curve, the wave. What? The wave approaches the eye. The eye spins, turning each part to face that vast white edge. You recognize their skeletal data cloud forms. The bright mark at the low end, the greenway, the waist, and then... The wave hits just as the flotilla The cordon turns to face it, and after that, everything is silence. You open your eyes again. That is the epicenter. But of what? And what does that mean? What does that mean for me? I don't have a new drive, and I can't sleep, I assume. Now there's an active scene, though I don't know what it is. I assume it's something to do with flux, then. Yeah. Hello, Peak. Even before you reach the cordon, the damage is obvious. The blinking red lights, the drones, the tugs, all are gone. Half the cordon's frame has also been shorn away, perhaps through the impact of some failing ship. People push past you in the corridor, both Havenage staff and contractors clearing the cordon. Now, I guess try to speak to them. You're met with suspicious looks and scattered warnings, but little else. From the equipment being carried out... Sorry, let me readjust myself. You suspect this is no relief effort. Havenage are pulling out of this section of the station. What? The further you pass into the cordon, the less people you see. You see a few sections that have been closed off, their bulkhead doors sealed and red warning lights punctuating the corridors, but otherwise most areas seem functional. Suddenly you feel a hand fall on your shoulder. Havenage security? You should have known better to wander into this place. You brace yourself as you turn. It's Peak! Sleeper! Peak's wide eyes greet you as you turn. The cordon! They glance around, panicked. It's gone down! The Briar and Esh are still in there. Do you think she did this? Or perhaps Havenage messed up? They start pulling you towards the edge of the cordon. We should find her. What if... It wasn't either of them. Peak stops. What are you saying? There was a wave. Something hit the station. Yeah. Peak looks incredulous. Hit? Sleeper, we'd all be dead if that was the case. They pause to think. Maybe not an object, but a shockwave? A signal? An EMP would have taken out most of the station, but... Peak runs a hand through their hair. I don't know what you're saying, Sleeper. That doesn't sound... They look away down the corridor for a moment. Look, I have to find Esh. I'm sure you felt something, but we can talk about that later. They set off down the corridor. I can't sit around talking any longer. Find me on the flotilla. I'm gonna find a way to Esh no matter what. With that, they rush away into the depths of the cordon, leaving you behind. Seems like you'll need to follow if you want to get any answers. What? Can we... Okay, well, I have scrap. Whoa! We can go out here now. Well, that's certainly something. The flotilla. Damage control. Flotilla friend. I'm a flotilla friend. I'm a huge flotilla friend. World's biggest flotilla friend. I'm just so cool that I did it in one cycle. Skull? Peak. Well, who's down here? I'll talk to Peak. I trust Peak. As you walk into the bay of the climbing briar, the familiarity of the space overcomes any trepidation. It feels good to be back, and the return feels earned, especially after all the work it took to figure out a route through the flotilla's jumbles of ships that might lead you to this blue streak. You see Esh and Peak immediately sitting at the back of the bay, deep in conversation. Their closeness causes you to stop, suddenly aware that you might be interrupting something private. Peak... Well, there's their ship name. God damn it. Peak is explaining something forcefully as Esh stares out into the middle distance, hunched over. She suddenly spots you. Sleeper. Esh nods. Didn't quite turn out like how we hoped, right? Peak stops and glances between the two of you, the tension rising. I'm sorry. Maybe if you flew better. Esh waves your apology away. None of that. We all had our part to play. Peak looks nervous. It has worked out. They appeal to you. The Flux event knocked the entire coordinate system offline. The flotilla is free and Havenage are backing off. That's not a... Wait, Flux... What is a Flux event? That's what the refugees are calling it, Peak explains. Apparently that's what they called it when it started happening around Ember. Okay, so what is actually happening? Hard to tell. It's some kind of disruptive wave that only affects electrical systems. Peak chips in. Typically systems are screened against radiation interference, but this seems to be dulled. not stopped by those defenses. That's a weird sentence. The crisis continues, Ash sighs. The cordon may be down, but this brings a whole other set of problems. You should tell them, Ash. Pete glances at her. Please. Ash doesn't respond. Tell you what? You stare at her back, waiting for a response. What do you have to tell me? Please, Ash, haven't they shown they can be trusted? Pete nods towards you. Yeah, I've done a pretty good job of that. Ash turns, her arms folded tightly across her chest. She goes to start, but then stops. You can see the anger in her eyes, but you realize it's not directed at you or at anyone else. She's angry with herself. I brought weapons to the flotilla, she pauses, and now Haven has them. I knew this already. You suddenly remember the sleek crates that were tucked into the bay, marked with a yellow sigil, the ones Ash told you were just supplies. There's no time to argue. Havenage? They seized them from me when they caught the briar. Ash kicks at the floor. Bastards. We hope that they will keep them safe, but given recent events... Pete glances nervously at Ash. We aren't so sure that Havenage is the right place for weapons to be. I wouldn't put it past them to use them to take the cordon back by force. Ash glares. They're scared and losing control. In my experience, that's when institutions do dangerous things. Whether that's true, we can't do anything about it right now, Ash. Short of marching into the yards at the other end of the eye and taking them back. Yeah. Ash looks like that is exactly what she would like to do. Pete smiles nervously. Plus, we have other things to be getting on with. I want to understand the Flux Sleeper, to study it. Pete's eyes light up. This thing is changing the entire system, causing problems across the inner system, driving refugees off Ember's moons, and now it's here. If we don't do something about it, Pete pauses. It's a problem for all of us. I can see more immediate problems, Ash sniffs. I don't know if that even came up on the microphone. Pete ignores her. I've been looking at the networks, and when the Flux event hit, it changed things. It shuffled systems, corrupted nodes, and broke open data stores. They take out a slate and show you a flickering polygon. Some of these Flux nodes have appeared near the epicenter of the event, but I can't get access. You, however, I saw the way you worked with data when we were preparing for the run. I think you can get into these things. I want you to find a Flux node and bring me anything you can extract. They come and go, but most can be found in the barely functioning networks of the wastes. Peak pauses. Start there. Perhaps together we can find something that might point us to what the Flux is and where it comes from. Okay. They smile. I knew you'd agree. Ash looks indignant. Don't waste too much time chasing Ghost Sleeper. There are people in this flotilla that need any help they can get. I'm sure Sleeper can do both, Ash. Peak smiles at you. I'll see you here when you have something. Good hunting. And they wave you out as Ash stomps away to make plans of her own. Great. Study the Flux. Is this where I study it? Deliver Flux data. I can't believe we're doing something with this again. Soul. Like the guy from Guilty Gear? Someone told me I should be thanking you. The voice comes from behind you, cutting through the chaos of the crowded, cavernous bay. You freeze. Don't be afraid now. I've been hunting you, sure, but for all the best reasons. You turn to see bright eyes set in a rough face framed in the rusted metal. Ah. You are quite the sight. Soul. He hands out his hand, the other clamped firmly around a knotted wooded cane. Do I know you? Soul frowns. I didn't mean to cause offense. He withdraws his hand. Forgive me. As soon as I saw you, I knew who you were. Soul puts a hand on your shoulder. I've been told a sleeper was part of the supply run that came in several cycles ago. He nods. A very welcome act, and we all thank you for it. Walk with me, sleeper. Soul sets off through the bay, his partial suit hissing and creaking as it helps carry him through the busy crowds. You notice people making way for you and Soul, standing back and letting you pass. I guess he's the boss. You pass a makeshift kitchen, steaming pots on heating elements, a restless queue collecting meals. That algae that came through isn't exactly a full meal, but with what we have here, we've been able to make it work. You see a ladle of greenish stew dished out. The color is something, isn't it? Soul smiles. Soul leads you out of the larger bay into a corridor lined with storage rooms that are now serving as dorms. You see someone filling a metal container from a standpipe, the water gushing out readily. Soul nods to the person as he passes. Just a little further now. Soul leads you into a freight elevator and whistles to some unseen operator to start it up. It jerks into life, and as you pass through the layers of the ship, you see people on every level, supplies crammed into every available space, and sparks leaping in bursts as the ship is reshaped and modified to sustain its population. If Avenage were expecting an exodus from the flotilla, the flux event has put a stop to that. Soul stretches. Some have crossed to the eye, but many just to gather salvage or score a hot meal. So the pressure on our supplies is shrinking, but not like I'd hoped. With the flux reaching all the way out here, people are starting to understand that our journey might not be over. Soul stares grimly ahead. Suddenly the freight elevator screeches to a halt and Soul leads you slowly out into a wide room of chairs and terminals, ringed by a mezzanine with a glass roof above showing the distant hub, and by the far curve of the eye beyond. That's a long sentence, hold on. The people at the terminals nod to him as he enters. This your ship? Soul nods. That's right. The pilgrim seat is mine to care for. He leads you up to a rail platform at the center of the room and stops. She chose me, so to speak. Well, at least the crew did, and I do my best to serve them. Soul looks around the bridge of the ship, a pained expression on his face. I'll admit that the responsibility isn't one that suits me, though we rarely get to choose such things. He glances back at you. But you, Sleeper, from what I understand, you chose to try to help us here. Is that right? Did my best. Soul nods silently. But I have to ask you, Sleeper, why are you here now? Soul leans back and you feel his eyes on you, assessing you. The flux event. I gotta be honest. I really want to know about that. I appreciate the honesty. That figured as much. Soul flexes the shoulder that is free of the suit. Looking at you now, I can see that an event like that, well, would have had a big impact. He smiles a half smile. I have thousands of people here on the pilgrim seat, Sleeper, and there's thousands more out in the flotilla. He leans against a railing. A lot of them are looking to me to provide some future for them, some path out of this dead end we've got into. And this cycle, this very cycle, the thing we've been running away from, just caught up with us. So these people are scared, Sleeper. They're looking to me for reassurance. And then, on the same cycle, someone tells me they see you on board, a Sleeper. The same Sleeper they reckon that wanted so strongly to send the ship past the cordon to see us. Soul scratches at his beard. So the first thing I wanted to do was thank you for that, for your interest. He pauses. But the second thing I wanted to do was find out what you want from us. Soul's suit hisses and creaks. I think that's fair, don't you? Soul takes a deep breath. So, what is it? Tell me about the flux! Tell me about the flux! Someone at a terminal calls out to Soul and he shouts some orders back. He turns to you. Great, I'm not getting an explanation! Apologies. He smiles that half smile. Tell you what, Sleeper. Let's you and me make a deal. You want information, I understand that. But I have a list that needs longer than the rim of the eye itself. He grimaces. So you do some things for me, and then we can talk about what's been happening in the system, and I'll answer all your questions and then some. Now, I may be the captain of the Pilgrim Seed. She is certainly the biggest ship in this flotilla, but I'm not the only captain here. We have ships here from each of the moons. I hope you can hear that on the mic. We're from Ember's Hearth, but there's others from Ember's Song and even Ember's Step. The moons have been at each other's throats, Sleeper, but with the pressure of the flux, the bad blood from the old days, Soul leans in. We aren't exactly all in alignment. What I need is a way to stop these things from escalating. For the crews on these ships and their captains to feel happy and comfortable enough to forget old rivalries and past crimes. He flinches at something. Those from Ember's Step, well, they've always been proud. That pride seems to be a barrier to compromise right now. The last set of supplies I sent their way, they refused. Meanwhile, I have a supply shuttle at the docking access at the Ember's Song ships gathers at. But they have taken far too many cycles to unload. Maybe if you're heading that way, you can look in on them. No, I'm no politician, Sleeper, but if I don't... Soul stops. He leans back and flexes, his suit screeching. He groans a little, and you see the weight of the flotilla sitting on his shoulders, the suit the only thing keeping him vertical beneath all that pressure. Look, you'll see for yourself if you go. Meet the others, Sleeper. See what they need. Keep them aligned. He speaks through his pain, his voice clipped. Are you okay? Not really, but as long as this thing holds, he grimaces. I hope. Soul grits his teeth. You are what you appear to be, Sleeper. Oh, shoot, I messed that sentence up. He smiles his half-smile despite the pain. Because I'm not sure I can take any more bad news. Plus, there's plenty to be done here on the Pilgrim Seat, too. If you have a moment to pitch in, there's never enough around here. That's something I've learned the hard way. Soul settles onto his cane, the pain visibly receding. Alright, I have 1,000 things to attend to now, Sleeper, so you have to find your own way out. With that, Soul sits at his terminal with slow and careful movements. You head back down the freight elevator, and as you do, you see again the layers and layers of chaotic life this vessel and all the vessels of this flotilla hold. Don't make me talk to someone. Come on! I need to end the episode! Who's Aki? You better be a really interesting person I can put in the thumbnail. It's a strange sight given your time spent in the greenway to see a greenhouse choked in red dust. It piles up along the edges, gathers in curving waves, and is carried by some unseen wind to whirl in front of the glass ceiling. It's a desert in miniature, a captured landscape of iron-rich sediment and unseen life. Beautiful, isn't it? The remark comes from another figure standing at the viewing window, so quietly that you hadn't noticed them. Did they just arrive, or were they here before you were? Their cloth-swaddled form reveals little. It is. They say nothing. You catch a glimpse of a pale face among the thick material, dark eyes glittering in the red reflected light. No, I might go with Soul. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you'll know because you clicked on the video. They turn to you as the dust swirls. Aki. They smile a tight smile. You are not from the flotilla, am I right? I'm not from anywhere. Everyone is from somewhere, whether they wish to be or not. The red dust glitters in her eyes, whether it is a good place to be from or not. Aki gathers her cloak around her shoulders against the cold. What brings you to the wind's long shadow? Soul sent me. Aki doesn't respond. She looks absent-mindedly at the dust. You are a strange one. Aki raises an eyebrow. I don't know whether to report you or send you back to where you came from. She smiles to herself, which is nowhere at all. You glance around the empty corridor, suddenly aware of how quiet it is on the ship. Unlike the other ships you have been on the flotilla, there's a silent order to the wind's long shadow, and in this moment, it feels unsettling. Where is everyone? Aki waves a hand. Asleep, mostly. It is night on Step, and so it is night here. She rubs her shoulders, at least for those of us who can sleep. I'll stay silent. I know Step is like a moon. Aki lets the silence sit, and you hear the wind and dust scratching at the viewing window. I want that to go away. Stop flashing. You hear a creak as a set of shutters slowly begins to close around the glass ceiling of the greenhouse. As you watch, you feel the dissonance this place has with that word. There's nothing green here. A dust house, perhaps. It takes many systems to preserve this landscape. Aki begins. To simulate the wind, cycle the dust, layer the sand and dirt beneath. You watch the dust swirling. Systems that are failing. The flux event. Aki glances at you for a sign of recognition at this term, which I totally have, is eroding our ability to keep this place alive. To keep these traces of Step alive. She smiles to herself, which is ironic because when we left Step, the flux had eroded our ability to survive on the moon. Now the situation is reversed. Away from the moon, its ecosystems are as fragile as we were living upon it. Something catches your eye as the shutters darken the dust house. The winds picking away at the dunes begin to reveal something. A web, a network of thick branching forms, and then they close completely, and you see nothing in the dark. Soft blue lights flicker on in the corridor, uplighting Aki in cold sighing. You have piqued my curiosity, but I'm so tired. Aki shivers. If you do not have a purpose here on the ship, I recommend finding one. Otherwise, I'm afraid you'll need to leave. Make yourself useful, and perhaps we will get another chance to talk. She turns. I would like that. With that, Aki pads away along the corridor. You stand for a moment in front of the dark dust house, trying to imagine the network of roots under the sand and dust, and then trying to imagine the moon that once housed them. Are we done? Are we done talking to people? Please tell me we are. We are. Don't make me do something immediately. Don't make me talk to someone immediately. I'm gonna lose my mind. Don't do it. Don't do it. You bastard. Actually, it's Moritz. I don't mind Moritz. Sleeper. No. That's not your voice. Sleeper. Long time. Moritz is smiling at you when you leave, clearly happy to see you again. Moritz, good to see you. Same. He rubs his hands on his jacket. How you been? Working hard. I bet. He grins. Well, you always are welcome to hang at the bay if you want. I have a little bit. Working. He glances around. Actually, that's what I'm here about. I know Bliss said she didn't want to take any more big jobs, but she's changed her mind or something. He grins. Because now we have someone looking for a refit of their ship in our bay. You would not believe it. They want their entire ship disarmed. Cutting out defense arrays, weapon lockers, ship-to-ship countermeasures, the whole lot. He leans in. We'll be able to start an arms dealership with all the hardware we'll have up there when we're done. He laughs. Anyway, it's a massive job and we need some hands. Bliss said to go get you. So come on up. Bliss is waiting on you to accept the job. He pauses. It'll be good to have you up there again. He grins. Like old times. Okay. Alright. That didn't take that long. We saved? Okay, we're saved. Got a lot done. And, yeah, this was not the last episode. Though I kind of figured that. This is episode 14, right? Bless you. I already wrote down episode 15. Bless you. On my calendar anyway, because I kind of knew this wouldn't be the last episode. Considering, we're not done with the DLC episodes. Camera, stop! Okay. Oh, I refocused my sneeze, of course. But I gotta end the recording. I gotta stop sneezing. I've been the One Frog. Thanks for watching.